What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another post game here on Mets Central. And the Mets win 4-0 over the Atlanta Braves in game 82 of the regular season. But unfortunately, because of the way things just seem to be this season, they get the win. Great. They move back in first place. Great. But we still are sick to our stomachs after. I can't talk right now. We are still sick to our stomachs after. Why are we sick to our stomachs? Well, you must have missed the game if you are questioning that. But especially now, right before I fired up the stream, Carlos Mendoza said to the media that they believe it is an Achilles injury for Griffin Canning, who ended up leaving the game in the third inning after a very awkward play that he literally was not even involved in, really, other than just moving out of the way. Which I don't even know if he had to move out of the way. Whatever, though. Either way, he wasn't even involved in the play. It was not like he was fielding the ball. It's not like he was covering first base. Ends up getting injured. All I could say is hopefully a quick recovery for him. And it sucks to lose yet another starter. This time, you are not getting the starter back at all for the remainder of the season. There's just no way Griffin Canning comes back from this at all this season. And maybe he comes back next year on a flyer deal, and it sucks even more for him because he was earning himself a way to a pretty good payday after the season. Even though he has been shaky his last few starts, he was well on his way to getting himself a guaranteed multi-year contract probably after the season, assuming he put up the numbers that he had, like similar to the stat line he has right now. If you look at just the ERA and WHIP, maybe even if it's a bit higher, you are looking at a guy that's getting a guaranteed contract to be the back end starter for a baseball team, whether it's the Mets or another. And now he's going to miss out on that opportunity because of this injury. And even more so, of course, for the Mets itself, for the team that is already starving for innings to begin with. It sucks that you lose Griffin Canning for the remainder of the season when, again, the rotation's banged up as it is. And now, I mean, it's not even a question. It already wasn't before, in my opinion. Now there's no doubt in my mind you have to get a starting pitcher come the trade deadline. There's no option. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. They have to go out and address this rotation because you can't survive with Paul Blackburn in this rotation. I'm sorry, you just can't. And they need someone that's going to eat more innings regardless than they're already getting right now. So it just sucks. It absolutely sucks to lose Canning. And I don't know again if he's going to. I don't know if he's going to come back to the Mets after the season on like a 1-year deal next year or what it might be. But again, if he's not back, I appreciate what we got from Griffin Canning in the small sample size, even though again he did struggle in his last few starts. Tonight it looked like he was ready to just be back to his old self and dominate. I mean, early on in the game as well, he was just really showing more of the Griffin Canning we saw at the start of the season, getting those 2 strikeouts on Acuna and Olsen, and then getting the strikeout on Sean Murphy. He looked like the Griffin Canning that we saw before all of these piss poor starts. And for him to end up going down on that play, it just stinks. But it's tough to pivot off of talking about the injury because there is still more of the game to talk about. Because there are positives too, right? The biggest positive to me is that the bullpen looked good, and especially a certain someone in the bullpen. And that certain someone is Denel Nunez, which I was starting to question, are we going to see the Nunez that we saw last year? Maybe he needs more time still to ramp up. I don't know what it is, but he ended up giving 2 innings tonight, 4 strikeouts. The first 2 batters, I was a little worried because he was allowing a little bit of contact there, and he ended up getting the outs either way. But after that, I mean, he dialed in and was striking guys out the way that we saw last year. And on top of that, I want to add, his velo was definitely up. I mean, you saw him touching 98, 99 on the radar there, which that's what we got from Nunez last year. And if they get that Denel Nunez back, welcome to the circle of trust with Edwin Diaz because there's no one else there at the moment in my books, despite the fact that the bullpen did have a good game, despite Stanek now having a solid outing. And I think that's back to back good outings for him. Austin Warren, I'd obviously need to see more from him to enter the circle of trust. Who knows if he's even going to be here tomorrow because he could be part of the revolving door that the Mets have had all year, where it's just a guy's up and then goes back down just to keep the arms fresh here, which I've always thought about in the back of my mind. How the hell is the Syracuse manager doing with limited arms down there, probably? But either way, that's just a random dumb thought in my mind. But Nunez, yeah, very happy to see him bounce back. And again, if you get what you got from him tonight, he is going to be in the circle of trust, and you could actually rely on him like that high leverage guy that we thought we were getting from him going into the year. It just, again, we never saw it until tonight, him showing that, because the breaking stuff too was just absolutely unbelievable. So very encouraging. He ended up generating 6 whiffs on 15 swings. So let's see if he could build on that though, because I need to see more before I throw him into the circle of trust. Well on his way there though. Outside of that, good work from the bullpen all around. No walks from the pitching staff at all today as well. And what do you know? The pitching does well, and it puts the Mets in a position to win the game because, quite frankly, they honestly did not produce that well offensively. They were 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. There was a lot of times they got traffic on the bases, didn't score. Like in the bottom of the third, they get 2 on with 1 out. They fail to score with the top of the order coming up. The bottom of the 4th inning, they got a run with a sac fly from Taylor, but you probably wanted to see more considering they had a couple of men on base. And with the top of the order coming through a bit with Soto walking, Alonso with a single, Beatty walked as well. Unfortunately, though, couldn't add on. And then even in the bottom of the 5th, where you had 2 on with 1 out, you get a single from Alonso to make it 2-0. You still maybe want a bit more. Bottom of the 7th with 2 outs, so they had a rally, which was nice. Jeff McNeil driving in the runs after Soto and Alonso get on base with hits of their own. McNeil gets that single. And yeah, so the offense was better than it's been. Let's not get it twisted there. So marginal improvement. I don't know. I don't know how to take that. I don't know if I should take it as a victory or not, because at the end of the day, the pitching held this team into the game, and it was nice to see them do that, considering they have not done that in quite a bit. We'll see how much it maintains. This team moves back in the first, thanks to the Phillies getting swept by the Astros, so they ended up getting a little bit of help. You can call them Post Malone because they had some help, but I still want to see more from this offense. Alonso, though, 3 for 4 day. Very happy to see that. Very happy to see Soto continue to be on a tear. Most importantly, you got hits from the top of the order, where the past few nights they've not been getting that amongst the bottom of the order, not getting it done at all. Mauricio's starting to look a little comfortable. I didn't love his last at bat, but I'm wondering what the corresponding move is going to be tomorrow, because Vientos is back tomorrow. That is the word. The word is that Vientos is back tomorrow. I don't know who they're going to send down. Maybe it's Jankowski, but then you lose an outfielder. So I don't know. Will it be? I think it's going to ultimately be Mauricio, even though he has showed a little bit better at bats. I mean, Jared Young would probably be the better option, honestly. Scratch that. I would send Jared Young down. I don't know if they're going to, but that's who I would easily cut ties with for Vientos tomorrow. Because right now, I would just give Vientos the reps at DH. So where's Jared Young coming to the mix if Vientos is going to play DH? I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to be upset, though. Now I made it where I'm going to be upset if it's not Jared Young, because how could he send down anyone else? I mean, even Jankowski, I'd prefer to have him here to have that extra defensive option for the outfield and just have the glove and the speed on the base path. So you ended up seeing him pinch run tonight. I would rather that over Jared Young. And this could be true that they end up sending Mauricio down for Vientos and then Young down when Winker's back. But I don't know. Will it be? Because I don't know how much Jankowski's going to stick. That's the that's the thing. I don't know how much he's going to stick. So we'll see though. I would cut ties with Young for Vientos tomorrow. I want to see them call up McLean until the deadline when they add another starter. They could, hypothetically, they could, now that it's very obvious that you are going to put, it's not a question that you're going to put Canning on the 60-day IL, which opens up a 40-man roster spot. So they could do it, but the problem is if they acquire a starter, you're probably going to want to remove McLean from the 40-man unless he's really doing well. So you do have that gamble. I don't know. I really don't know who they're going to call up. It might just be what else sticking around to eat innings. I don't know. I don't know. Unless they're, I mean, Spencer Turnbull just got DFA'd. Maybe the Mets explore that option. Not that he's really ramped up to be a starter right now, but he is a guy that could at least give some bulk innings if you need. Maybe that's a direction they go in. That's a guy I wanted in the offseason, which he didn't look great so far. And yeah, maybe Tidwell since he's already on the 40 man. That's probably the most realistic right now. But maybe not, because do they want to hurt his confidence if he's getting beat up a bit? And yeah, I wish they could have ended Olson's on base streak as well. That would have been nice, but at least the Cunha's ended, especially with the way the series opened up with him. Um, sorry, just seeing if there's anything else on Twitter right now about just like a corresponding move or anything. But so far, it doesn't look like there is anything on that. It's very unfortunate, though. Very unfortunate. Just with the way it happened, too. Not that there's a good way for it to happen, but you get what I mean. Where just like it wasn't even him fielding a ground ball. It wasn't even during his windup or anything. It was just him getting out of the way so the ball didn't hit him. So we'll see. And then in terms of other options, I do want to look at other options in the system for the Mets to potentially explore now. Coming up for him. Man, a lot of injuries. Injury list is just brutal with pitchers. They have an entire freaking pitching staff now on the injured list because they have a whole rotation with Manaya, McGill, Scott, Senga, and then Canning will be joining. Then they have a pretty good bullpen over there on the IL with Kranick, Minter, Raley, and then it kind of becomes not so good with Drew Smith and Danny Young. In terms of other starters, I mean, Justin Hageman, who we saw, maybe that's an option they explore. Sproat's obviously a name. He hasn't looked too great this season in Syracuse, so I don't think he's gonna be getting the call up at all. Um, outside of that, it would only be a reliever outside of that. Yeah, one of the relievers, which they have a pretty good amount. Yeah, we're becoming the Dodgers with our pitchers getting injured. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to wrap things up here. Thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know I upload or go live. And I'll see you guys in the next one.